Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me. And I am back with What If Deku Had a Venom Quirk Part 2. And as always, if you enjoy, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. One thing I want to say and let you guys know, I do have a Discord in the description. Funny enough, one of my subscribers that watches the video, or watches the videos, actually pointed out that I didn't say it, and I keep forgetting to say it, and I'm so sorry. Discord in the description. Check the links in the description. We got a Spotify and stuff like that too. So check the links in the description if you want to go check those out. And again, if you guys watched the last video, which was What If Deku Became a Support Hero, it was a little different. It was shorter. It was a one-shot, and it was me just ranting about certain things. Don't worry, the whole channel is not going to be just those. We're going to have the story stuff too. I want to do a nice little mix of them. And yeah, that's all I got to say. With that said, let's just get right into the what if. So let's get it. Izuku Midoriya stands right in front of Shigaraki. Shigaraki and the League of Villains seem to be kind of mowed down almost entirely by Izuku and Venom. And it seems as if they continue to try and push forward, but now that Izuku Midoriya has full control over the Nomu, there's a lot of questions that Shigaraki has for himself. Unknowingly, Shigaraki, well, he thinks that he can somehow still win, but the idea of winning is kind of out of the question at this point. Izuku would be in full control over the Nomu and full control over the power he has himself, and he even begins to utilize some of the sludge that is on his body to create a venomized version of the sludge villain. With him, the Nomu, and the sludge villain, or the sludge-like monster, now standing next to each other, it is now time for them to face down Kurogiri and Shigaraki, but this fight isn't even a close one. Shigaraki tries to fend them off, tries to even get a grip and touch them so that he could basically disintegrate or kind of decay anybody that's in front of him, but it seems like it just doesn't work. It seems like as Izuku is pushing forward, and as Izuku and the Nomu and the sludge villain are pushing forward, Shigaraki is running out of options, and quickly they are subdued, and quickly they are on the ground, unable to move. But here's the question, right? Here's the real question. What are they going to do with these villains? Well, they could lock them up, throw them in prison, or Izuku can take them over and control them how he sees fit. Izuku's mind slowly darkening as the question would arise, and he would go closer to Kurogiri as his kind of black-like sludge would begin to creep up on Kurogiri. But immediately Aizawa would tell him to stop right now, that he cannot take over these people. He cannot take over Shigaraki and them, that he should not do a single thing. He needs to stop right now. And when Izuku looks at him and says that these two right here came to hurt us, came to hurt children. We are high schoolers. We are kids that should be learning, having fun, and doing this or that. But it's obvious that they don't care. That they don't care about the future generations, and they don't care that they were threatening children. In which Izuku tells Aizawa this with a straight face and tells him that punishment is what they need, and maybe he can use them for good. But of course, Aizawa would tell him that is not the way, that he shouldn't do that this is not very heroic, and he needs to think about what he's doing. Like, you're going to basically take them over. You're going to basically enslave them, in which Izuku says that he doesn't look at it like that. He doesn't look at it as if he's going to take them over or enslave them or control them. No. He's giving them purpose. That's what Izuku's doing. He is giving them purpose. But of course, that is not the way Aizawa is looking at it, and he tells Izuku to stop right now. Izuku would shrug his shoulders as the Nomu would basically disappear, as if it's disintegrated within the Venom slime or the Venom sludge, and the sludge villain himself would disappear as well. And Izuku would tell Aizawa that to go right ahead, to take Shigaraki, take this other guy, and imprison them. Make sure they don't get out, make sure they don't hurt any other people, and so on and so forth. In which Izuku would end up leaving, especially with the rest of his class. And there'll be a conversation that really needs to happen because, well, Izuku did want to absolutely either end this person's life or take him over entirely. So that conversation would be a bit of an awkward one, but one that really needs to happen. And Aizawa and him would speak on what happened and what occurred after the USJ incident, and Izuku would tell him that he did what he thought was best, and in a crucial moment where they needed help and they needed to stop these villains, well, he took over, right? He took over. He made sure that these villains would not be able to hurt them, and he made sure that they were safe. That we made sure that everybody was safe, in which he would speak to Venom just slyly to an extent, speaking to Venom, saying that he believes he did a good job, and Venom speaks back to Izuku, saying that they did the job that needed to be done, and frankly, if Aizawa doesn't see it that way, then to hell with him. In which Izuku would look at Aizawa and shake his head, saying that we will never see eye to eye on this regard, that he did what he needed to do, that he did what had to be done to survive. That's what happened, that's what he did, and that's what he'll continue to do. In which Aizawa would tell him, you know what, that's how you feel, but you have to have repercussions for the choices you make. And he tells him that he is no longer going to participate in the UA Sports Festival. In which Izuku would look at Aizawa weirdly and just shrug him off, saying whatever, that it doesn't matter anyways, that he doesn't need to be portrayed in front of all of these people, that all he needs to do is be stronger, be better, be faster, and be greater. That's it. That's all he needs to do. In which Izuku would feel as if Aizawa and everyone else is kind of just bringing him down at this point, kind of pulling him and holding him still, not allowing him to be the hero that he should be, not allowing him to be the person he should be. And he makes that very clear with him and very clear with them. And he would then go on to say that he'll just continue training, preparing, and getting ready. And as the UA Sports Festival would eventually arrive and conclude, Izuku would be kind of willing and ready to take on whatever agency would offer him, even if it's a small agency and a small person. And well, he ends up actually going with a smaller agency, with a smaller hero, and this hero is based in Hosu City. Now, he does work with this hero a little bit. He learns a couple things that are interesting, but it seems as if it doesn't really help him to the degree he wants to basically get help. And it seems as if there's a lot of things that are missing, right? He's trying to learn, but there isn't enough to be taught, at least from this person. But when out on a patrol one day in Hosu City, he would hear some rustling and he would hear things happening as they would occur. Well, it seems as if down an alleyway, the hero killer is currently having his way with Tenya Ida, beating and slashing and stabbing him. And immediately Izuku would arrive and transform. Izuku would approach the hero killer and think that, wow, you know what? You're interesting. You're interesting. Your weapons, your fight style, everything. So interesting. he would then send a tendril of some sorts at, of course, this hero killer, grabbing him. But as he does, he begins to kind of weirdly transform. His scale begins to get smaller. He dons a more like suit of Venom armor in a way, and he dons swords that he can now hold in both of his hands. With blades strapped all around him as well, it seems as if he kind of dons a hero killer vigilante-like outfit, but it's more venomized and also a little bit more modernized as well. Not the raggedy clothes that the hero killer wears. Izuku would laugh at him and say that it seems like he wants a fight, and a fight is what he's going to get. Izuku dashes forward, and they begin to slash and basically clash with each other, sword on sword, but of course Izuku's sword is a little bit different. Now, of course, this fight in theory is a pretty spectacular one, right? It's a spectacular one. It looks great. It looks awesome. It looks fantastic. But here's the thing. Izuku versus the hero killer is not a close one, and Izuku's power and Venom power continues to put him in the forefront. Stopping the hero killer is just one thing for him to get through, and he immediately would break the hero killer's body, smashing his legs, smashing his rib cage, and has him on the ground, tying him up entirely with a sword to his back, in which Tenya Ida would walk over and say that the hero killer, he crippled his brother, hurt him, he'll never be a hero again, and that's why he's here. He was here to kill him, in which Izuku would slightly smile, and he would think that this right here is something interesting. He would then look at Tenya and pull and reach out a blade that is basically full of the Venom symbiote of some sorts, and Izuku would watch as Tenya would grab the sword, and he could feel the symbiote crawl around Tenya. It begins to bond partially, it seems, the connection with Tenya, being that Tenya has kind of this allowance, and he allowed the whatever quirk within Izuku's body to kind of reach out, right? And he begins to use the sword, and he jams it into the hero killer, ending the hero killer. Izuku asks him if that is what he wanted, if the end of the hero killer is what he sought after, in which Tenya would say yes. That's exactly what he desired, exactly what he wanted. And Izuku would tell him that now that he has what he wants, what will he do next? In which Tenya would eventually say that he'll follow Izuku whatever he wants and follow the path of whatever he believes is right, because this is all he wanted. And of course Venom would kind of surround, and the symbiote would surround Tenya and would kind of take him over. It would still look like Tenya, but the suit that he wears and the hero suit that he wears, the one that basically allows him to speed up and, you know, all this other stuff, whatever hero costume he dons, is just a little bit more venomized with a black and white color and so on. And Izuku would smile as he says that this right here is the start of it all. And as he says this, many other heroes would arrive, including someone by the name of Endeavor, the number 2 hero at this time. Endeavor would tell the kids to move out of the way. That what happened? What did they do? In which Izuku says that they did what they had to do, and that is the bottom line. In which Endeavor tells them that them doing this is idiotic. They're idiots. Why they have to go with the police now and so on. But Izuku would say no. Then no. That he realized something throughout this time, throughout his experience with other heroes, throughout his experience with UA High School, that heroes, they lack something that people that are trying to save others truly need, and that is a backbone. And it seems like every last one of them just think that it's all a-okay if they just allow things to happen. That it's fine to let them get away. It's fine for villains to escape. And it's fine as long as they have a chance to get them once again. Hero society, it seems like it's become a lot of commercials. Too commercialized, and too many people think that everything about being a hero is so cool and dandy. But it's not. Because the real heroes are the ones that stop crime permanently. Endeavor would tell them to stop and not make another move, and Izuku would reach toward the body of the hero killer, basically consuming it within the symbiote that is coursing through his body, and they would jump away as Endeavor would shoot fire at them. Izuku would feel the fire and would have part of his body burned for this, but luckily he's able to get away and he's able to heal up pretty quickly, but he can feel that fire itself without learning of a resistance. It seems to be slowly hurting him even more. But he has a couple remedies for stuff like that, couple ideas for things like that. He still has the full control over the Nomu, and he could basically choose what he wants to do with it. So he decides to bond with the Nomu entirely, absorbing him, not allowing him to actually utilize it as a kind of outward being, but now utilizing it in his own durability. And Izuku now walks away from all of this, walks away from UA, and goes into hiding for just a little bit with him and Tenya Ida. But Tenya, on the other hand, is still kind of scouting, kind of looking, and any chance they get, they try to basically hunt down villains that need to be just stopped, need to be extinguished. But one night when Izuku is sitting up in the forest, someone would approach. Someone would approach him and would begin speaking to him. This right here, well, was someone by the name of Dabi. Dabi would tell him that it seems like he had a little run-in with his father, with Endeavor, in which Izuku would look at him and he would smirk and he would stand up and say, yes, I did. And in which Dabi would reveal the scarring all over him, and he would say that, well, it seems like we have a bit of a common enemy, because Endeavor, he's far from a hero, and he shouldn't even be labeled as one, and he should be taken down and killed however they see fit. Izuku would smile at this and say that he could give him the power, give him the opportunity, give him what he wants. Does he want to remember the scars that streak on his face? Well, they could all be gone. They could all be taken away, and they could all be put to rest. But he could still get his revenge, and he could still get what he wants. Of course, Dabi is hesitant, and he tells him that he is not going to be some puppet, in which, of course, Izuku nods his head and says that there is no puppets here. There is no controlling. That they would only be them. They would be one, and they would be bonded. But he sees how he wants to play this, and he understands. Endeavor, he's such a fake hero, such a hero that only got there through sheer will of power and climbing. He has a history of some horrible things he's heard, and this history, well, it would suck to be released and shown to the world, but also it would suck if someone with that grudge would come knocking. He would tell, of course, Dabi, that the person that they idolized, Stain, the hero killer, yes, he was the one me, Izuku Midoriya, was the one to defeat him, kill him, take him over. And he immediately would show Stain in a Venom creepy like way, but it seems as if Stain still wields blades and he's more of like this creature just to do Izuku's bidding. And he says to Dabi that this is what happens when the person no longer is alive. Then they are a puppet. But if you take on and don this power while you still live, control is still yours. You just may want to follow the right path or get out of the way. In which Dabi would look at this and say that, well, it seems as if you have quite enough power to defeat Endeavor himself. In which Izuku says that he doesn't want to do it though. It seems like Dabi wants to, right? Isn't that what you want? In which, of course, that's exactly what he wants. Dabi wants the absolute chance to defeat and end, of course, Endeavor. And that chance, well, it's going to happen. Izuku allows this version of Stain to go with Dabi, and they're going to go hunting and go looking for Endeavor, in which Izuku waves him off and says to basically have a good time. Don't fret, be aware, and don't lose. Because losing, well, that is not an option. They would leave, and Izuku would talk to Tenya, and Tenya would ask if they could really trust him, in which Izuku says no, of course not. They can never trust someone like him. But let's see what he can do, and see what he can do with it. And Izuku begins doing his own kind of crusade. He begins to take over, or at least gather, a multitude of villains. Villains with various quirks get enhanced by Izuku, and he creates this army of some sorts. Now, the army's small initially, maybe 10 to 20 people, but they begin to gather and they begin to occupy kind of these abandoned parts of the city or on the outskirts of the cities. The news stations would still blare Izuku Midoriya on the loose, still looking for him, possible fugitive and also past student of UA High School. They would even bring up Tenya Ida being missing as well, in which Tenya himself would be arriving on the scene of his own brother. Tenya Ida would want to save his brother, give him a chance at having his power back once again. But Izuku would give him that option, give him, well, the availability to do so. But if the brother says no, then the brother, well, he'll stay the way he is. Izuku says he's not forcing him to become whatever this is. This beautiful power that we have should be accepted, should be embraced. But if he doesn't want to do that, that's fine. That is completely fine by him. Izuku would bide his time, would continue gathering people that follow him, and he would get whatever he wants. His mother and other people would be searching for him, wanting him to come home. But Izuku, well, he would hear none of the noise, as if the power that he has is blocking out any reasoning, any emotion. All he can think about is gathering control and utilizing the power he has for his own sake and the sake of the people who follow him. Everyone else means nothing. But eventually, somebody would show up. Eventually, somebody would want to recruit Izuku. Recruit him to something a little bit greater. This person would be named Overhaul. Overhaul would want Izuku to join him, would want Izuku to be one of the forefront leaders of the Shihazaikai. He's seen what he can do, and he knows with his power that they could control it all. But Izuku would look at Overhaul and shake his head. No. That's not the way I'm going to play it. And frankly, there's no way I would join someone like you. In which Overhaul would be pissed to hear this, in which Izuku tells him that anger is good. But he wants to really, really, really think about what he does next before he does it. Because if he decides to take that step, and he decides that he wants to take this, well, nuclear, they can do that. Izuku's followers would show up completely venomized, but some looking like normal humans, but just kind of changed with venom and kind of, made into like soldiers of some sorts, in which Izuku would see other villains as well come up behind Overhaul, saying that, yeah, obviously he was not alone, which would be the case, but they don't want to fight here. That's not what they want. And that this meeting is over. In which Izuku nods and says, fair enough. Good to see you, and he hopes to, see him sometime soon. But eventually, news would spread, and news on an assassination attempt on, the one and only Endeavor actually didn't go to plan. But it seems like Endeavor took one hell of a beating. One hell of a beating. To the point where his kind of power is subdued just for the moment. And on top of that, he's hospitalized for a quite long time. In which Izuku hears this and thinks that it seems like Dabi will be coming back very soon, sooner than expected. But as villains may trend and as villains may be, the heroes seem to be stockpiling and trying to basically bring resources to find where Izuku currently is. And the location of Izuku would eventually be exposed, but who do they send? Who do they bring? How do they stop him? Is there really a way to take down Izuku right now, or even ever? It seems like they're questioning it as well. Location is one thing, but a true kind of invasion to stop him is another. If Izuku is not doing anything wrong at this moment, it might not be the best idea to go about things and try to sabotage what they have, at least at the moment. But it seems as if there's another villain, a villain that is renowned around the entire world, is going to find this location and arrive to see what Izuku is all about. This villain is All For One. And it seems like All For One is looking for an ally, looking for a successor, someone who can replace Shigaraki, someone that's much better. And soon he would arrive, and soon a conversation with Izuku and him would begin. And All For One would tell him the power that he could give him, the power that he can grant him, in which Izuku thinks that this is a great idea. Maybe. And he says that All For One doesn't understand that he could grant him immense power as well. Maybe even power that his youth he once had. In his youth. In which All For One hears this and thinks that everything can be too good to be true. And Izuku agrees. Right back at you. Everything sometimes is too good to be true. All For One would nod as he realizes that the conversation is truly not going anywhere, but it seems like a confrontation between them will be bound to happen. A portal would open up beneath All For One, and he would leave. But as time would pass and as things would change, All For One would know that a fight with his number one rival with All Might would be upon them, and a fight with All Might is going to happen. But what happens when they clash and they face off? Izuku Midoriya is not going to stand around and watch. Izuku Midoriya is going to go and observe and even partake. But for now, that is the end of part 2 of What If Deku had a Venom Quirk, and you'll gotta find out what happens next. What happens next? Excuse me. In the next part, obviously part 3. Not sure if the part 3 is gonna be the last one or part 4. I'll have a part 4 where I'm not 100% sure just yet, but you'll have to wait for that to come out to see what happens. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.